Greetings, everyone. Well, I have a question for you today. Are you running from God? Well, this morning I had a very interesting dream. And sometimes in dreams, I'm a participator because I'm interacting with everybody and everything that's going on. And sometimes I'm just an observer, watching everything that's taking place. Today, I only observed what was taking place. The dream, it was set in a woods, and I saw a man, a rather large man, and he appeared to be a baby boomer. And he was running very quickly in the woods. I could see the leaves, kicking up under his feet, and he's running. And I looked behind him. What is he running from, or where is he running to? He was running from a big brown bear chasing him. And I was surprised at how quickly this man could run. He ran very fast. He ran one way, and the bear was like right up on him, and the man would turn quickly and run a different direction, and he was trying to outrun that bear. And I thought, surely that bear is going to catch him. Well, the man turned again and ran even faster, and kind of around a bend, and there was like a little hill, and he found like an opening in the hillside, like some stones, big stones were there, and he crawled up in that and hid. And here came the bear around the corner, and it went right past him. And I thought, surely that bear's going to smell him and come back, but he didn't. So I woke up, and I thought, Lord, now what are you saying to me in this? Because there was two different ways I could look at it, but it's taken me all day to really get an answer, seeking the Lord about it. I remember Bob saying that a black bear represented the fear of man. So if you have a black bear in your dream, it's generally going to represent the fear of man. But this was a brown bear, and this represents the fear of God. So that was my question, like, what was this man running from? Why was he running from the Lord? This is a baby boomer. This is one of these young people like me, okay? So, I thought he was probably 55 or 60, something like that. So, but he's running away from the Lord, and then he hid. Well, you can never really outrun the Lord, and you can't hide from him. He always knows where you're at. But I think at some point, the Lord quits chasing us, and he will wait to see what we are going to do. Now, was this man running fear of failure? Did he think he couldn't accomplish what the Lord had called him to do? Recently I just quit and said, Lord, I'm going to go work at Walmart and be a greeter, because I thought, I don't know I can do all the things the Lord's calling me to do. But then I remember him telling me that I would never turn my back. I would never turn and go back to the world. So I keep that in mind on days that I quit, okay? But here's what I think. I looked at different people in Scripture. Now, I've got to confess, it's been very hot here, and I just got tired this afternoon. I sat down just seeking the Lord about this dream and what was he saying, and I fell asleep. And it seemed like just a few minutes, my phone beeped, and it woke me up. But what I heard was, it was the sufferings of Christ. And I thought, okay, I got it. Now, I want to look at some people in Scripture that ran away from God. One was Jonah. Remember Jonah? He was called to go to Nineveh, and he turned and went the opposite direction. He was in the presence of God, and he turned and went to Tarshish, as far away as he could go. He was like the greatest evangelist, all right? He ran from his calling. Another one was Moses. How long did he run from the Lord? Okay, and then one day the Lord met up with him, and Moses went seeking his presence. He was a great deliverer. Another one was Elijah. He ran and hid in the cave after his, he was afraid of Jezebel after he defeated the prophets of Baal. So, those are three good ones. He was a prophet and he ran. we are human and things bother us and we do crazy things sometimes. Instead of turning and running to God, we turn and run away from him. So here's some that ran to God. We have Abraham and Jacob. They really sought after the Lord. Samuel, he says, "Here I am, Lord." Eli, he was just old and basically worthless anymore. He just didn't take care of business like he should have, but he did prep Samuel. Samuel didn't know it was the Lord's voice calling him. He said, if he comes again, if you say, "Here I am," and he did. And there's Isaiah. I want to read out of Isaiah 6. I find this so interesting. He sees the glory of the Lord, and then he's crying out to God. He says, "Woe is me, I'm undone, because I'm a man of unclean lips." And he dwells in the midst of people with unclean lips. And then an angel comes and puts the coals to his lips and purges his sin. And then he says, "I heard the voice saying, 'Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?' And Isaiah said, 'Here I am, send me.'" And then the Lord, of course, sends him. So what are we doing? Are we running from him, or are we running to him? Now, the Lord said to me it was the sufferings of Christ. That's what this man was running from. And I think he represents a generation of people that are really running from the Lord, okay? And Philippians 3, Paul is writing, and he said, he just wants to count all things as loss to know the excellence of the knowledge of Christ. That he said, his righteousness is as rubbish, but he wants to be found righteous in the Lord by his faith. And he said, to know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings and being conformed to his death. So that is where we should be. I don't know that's where we are. I question myself, is that's where I'm at? Oftentimes I think, we've got hung up on to know him. Of course we want to know him, and we want to know the power of his resurrection, and we want to know the glory of the Lord. But are we willing to endure the fellowship of his sufferings? There are many things that the Lord may call us to suffer through, or maybe a different word or better word would be to endure, okay? And some of them are not always pleasant, but can we endure them? In those times, are we willing to seek him? See, all that man, instead of him running and hiding, he should have faced the bear, and that bear would have embraced him. He wasn't going to eat him. He was going to embrace him and love him and nurture him and guide him in the way that he should go. So it's just a question, are you running from the Lord? If you are, turn and face your fear, okay? We need to have the fear of the Lord, and that's been lost for a long time. We need to have the fear of the Lord, not the fear of man, okay? There's a lot of things about man that we can be fearful of, but it's because we don't have the fear of the Lord. So turn and face your fear and let that fear, okay, of God embrace you, okay? And then the fellowship of him and his sufferings, okay? Because if we are in him, we will know and understand them, and we can endure them. And I'm preaching to the symphony here, okay? So, all right. Now, I hope that encouraged you, and I encourage you to, really seek him and the power of his resurrection. But remember the fellowship of his sufferings, okay? It will strengthen you, and it will gird you up, and you will endure all the testings that he has for you, because baby boomers, we really need you. We need the wisdom, we need the understanding, we need the strength that you have to teach the younger generations. We are in a crisis in this nation and around the world. We need you. All right, till next time, be blessed.